going to answer the question, what does spiritual mean? So, a spiritual could be used, spiritual could be a noun. I'm not sure that that's what this person had in mind, but there is such thing as a Negro spiritual, a song that African American slaves would sing as they worked. So that those are still around. Those are called spirituals. But there's also, you can use the word spiritual as an adjective, and that means a describing word for those of you who have forgotten. So spiritual describes anything that has to do with the spirit. Okay, so the Spirit of God is our Holy Spirit is one person of the Trinity. So spiritual may have something to do with the Spirit. Also, you and I have a spirit. We are body, soul, and spirit as human beings. And our body is the part that you can see, that you can touch and feel. And our soul is made up of our mind and our will and our emotions. So these are like our desires and our fears and anxieties or our joys. That's our soul. And our spirit is, it's really not like, it's intangible. You can't touch it, but your spirit is the part of you that connects with God. And our spirit is the place where God comes to live. His Holy Spirit comes to live in us when we become followers of Jesus, when we make a decision that we want to belong to Jesus. His Spirit comes and makes his home in us. And in the New Testament, in 1 Corinthians 6:17, Paul says that anyone who is joined with the Lord is one with him in spirit. Okay, so as a Christian, you can be joined with the Lord and be one with him in spirit. Now, I think there are different levels of this oneness with him. When we're walking in obedience to God and following him and seeking him, we're more one with him, right? When we're disobeying, we may still be a Christian, but we're willfully doing things that we know doesn't please the Lord, things that don't please the Lord, and then perhaps our spirit is where we're convicted of sin, when we know that something is not right with us and God. But that's spiritual, so nobody can see it. It's even a little bit hard to describe, but the Bible talks a lot about how we can grow in the Spirit. And then there are spiritual gifts, and there's fruit of the Spirit, which you are probably familiar with. These are things that God gives us and puts inside of us when we come to belong to him and when we become his followers. But one thing that's important is you'll hear people talk about my spiritual life, and I think maybe this is where the question came from, or even the term spiritual disciplines. So we've been talking about spiritual disciplines, and that just means discipline, things that I can do to put in my life that will help me grow in my relationship to God, that will help my spirit become more one with God's Spirit. And when someone says my spiritual life isn't good right now, they're talking about the way they're relating to God maybe isn't good. Now, non-Christians also use the term spiritual. Sometimes they'll say, I had a really spiritual experience, and it could have been just by being outdoors. They realize that there's something that's immaterial, and they had a deep kind of special feeling. But as Christians, we believe that spiritual, it's always connected to the Spirit of God. So that's the best I can do without having talked to the person who wrote this question.